that's incredible. And look, John Mooney is not the most athletic guy on the floor. And I even had that conversation with Coach Hamilton today at shoot-around. Like, how does a guy like John Mooney, how is he so productive? And he pointed at both ears. He said it's a mindset. It's a high IQ guy that just has the instincts that go find the basketball. And when you watch John Mooney, those instincts come to the forefront very quickly.
15 ACC doubles ties Tim Duncan for the single season record. Now Mooney has the advantage of a longer conference schedule as well. And now with 2 rebounds already, he's 11 shy of Duncan's single season rebound mark as well. And that's still with a game to go, plus tonight.
I mean, let's just lay it out there. There's a lot of disrespect on this floor. Florida State being disrespected, not getting the attention they deserve as one of the best teams in the conference, and John Mooney being disrespected as an individual performer.
How is it you think the number 7 team in the country gets overlooked?
Well, that's just my point. People still want to talk about Louisville and Duke. If it wasn't for Florida State's recent performances on the national stage, they still would be wholly overlooked by a lot of people. People are just now catching on to what Leonard Hamilton's doing, but he's been doing it for years down there in Tallahassee.
5th most wins in ACC history for Leonard Hamilton in almost 2 decades at the helm for Florida State. Noles down 3 in the early going. Forrest works on Dane Goodwin. The drop off for Olinichuk, and he scores with the right over top of Mooney. 2 coaches tonight, no ties. Leonard Hamilton on the road, notably never a button-down shirt. Why? Who wants to iron when you're on the road?
That's a pretty good reason. You gonna argue with that?
Can't argue with the result from Prentice Hub either, who hits the 3.
Seems like deja vu for the Irish in terms of the first matchup versus Florida State. A lot of Mooney and Hub. It's been no different here out of the gates for the Irish.
Mooney hedges hard to recover. Working against Olinichuk, who scored on a similar hook last time. Leschewski secures the rebound. A momentary 5-on-4 advantage for Notre Dame. Mooney back to Hub, who streaks the lane and scores.
Sequences like that are huge for the Irish. Anytime they can get out, transition, and run, takes away an opportunity for Florida State to set that defense and possibly turn the Irish over.
Nice fake from Polite, but he's unable to finish.
You can tell these Irish are looking to run.
And Prentice Hub is feeling some kind of special to start. He's got 11. Look out for the young man from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. The hot hand tonight inside Purcell Pavilion.
Irish coming out with some juice. He wears the jersey number 3 for a reason. The lucky lefty, you gotta hug up on him. You give him space, he'll make you pay. And when you're confident in transition, the give, the go, and the punctuation. And then when you got momentum in transition, forget looking for a layup. He's pulling up for distance. He's feeling it, and the crowd is loving it. Hub, talking about team runs, Mike. Hub on an 8-0 run of his own right now, so the hot hand, you know the Irish will be looking for him with a healthy dose of John Mooney alongside that. Florida State has to key in on these 2 top performers and limit their looks.
Well, he can play like that. Notre Dame can put to bed what has been an ugly stretch, the longest streak in school history of losses against top 25 teams. You have to go all the way back to the Maui Invitational, the beginning of the 17-18 season. They win the championship game there against Wichita State. Most notably, perhaps from that, a picture that lives on in fame or infamy, depending on how you look at it. Mike Bray's shirtless celebration with a lei around his neck. They're in Maui after that win.
It's a visual. Don't worry, us not showing it to you, we might be doing you a favor.
The Irish by 7 minutes gone. And both teams looking to correct their directions after losses on Saturday. Talked about Clemson falling at the hands of Virginia Tech in an earlier tip-off tonight. The Tigers were 1-point winners. Alamir Dawes with a last-second lay-in there at Littlejohn, and Notre Dame falling to Wake Forest 84-73 behind 24-17 from John Mooney. For Wake in that game, it was their first back-to-back wins in ACC play for the first time in 3 years.
Olenechuk with great size at 7 foot has just carved out real estate, loitered on that low block, and has found himself in pristine scoring opportunity after opportunity.
Hub whistled by Jeff Anderson for the travel. It's back to Florida State. Jeff Anderson, Brian Dorsey, and Ramey Styons, the officials tonight.
Florida State has to bunker in defensively, do a better job of communicating, getting back in transition defensively. The Irish are looking for that initial thrust to find offensive success.
The team with the best assist to turnover ratio in the country, Notre Dame, has turned it over back-to-back possessions. Vassell goes up through Pfluger, no. Leschewski, corner 3. Low trajectory on it, but it finds the bottom of the net.
Going back to that Florida State transition defense, it's not your typical get back in transition and protect the goal. It's locate shooters on the outside. The Irish looking to spot up where they can.
15 of their first 21 points from beyond the arc. Here's a good battle. Olenechuk versus Durham. Left his hand down.
I mean, you'll live with that one if you're Durham defending Olenechuk. I mean, he's not used to being a featured big man. As a grad guy at Ole Miss, didn't really get looks like that. So you'll live with the 15-footer from the big fella.
Olenechuk, the big man, started his career at Drake in Iowa and then at Ole Miss. And now to finish it off here at Florida State. Reach-in foul stops play. Notre Dame by 6. And when we come back, a whirl around the ACC and a look at Florida State and Notre Dame from Joe Lenardi in the bracket bunker. 9-9 in the ACC after a 2-6 start. So we bring in Joe Lenardi on call from the bracket bunker tonight. Projected out of the field right now. The chances are bleak, Joe, at this moment. Is there any hope for the Irish to get into the field?
Just for the record, guys, I was never going to use the word bleak. I was going to say slim, because that is where Notre Dame sits. You know, about a year ago, we had a North Carolina State team that was on its way to a 500 ACC season and had a non-conference schedule ranked in the 300s. Well, that's exactly where Notre Dame appears to be headed. Although they could win these last 2 home games and finish 11-9, their non-conference schedule is still going to be in 300s. They still don't have many wins of note, and their net is a lot closer to 60 than the Wolfpack last year, who were near 30. So unfortunately, I think there are more home games coming for Notre Dame, and I don't think they're going to be in the ACC or in the NCAA tournaments.
Well, heck, Joe, you might as well have used the word bleak after that description. Let's talk about Coach Leonard Hamilton, the masterful job he's done at Florida State. The team you have pegged as a 2 seed right now. Is there any potential where they could slide up to a 1? Where is their footing at as we sit here tonight?
Yeah, I don't see a path to the top line for really any ACC team at this point. Because they've all suffered losses recently when they had an opportunity to solidify themselves as 2s and maybe be in the on-deck circle for a 1. Florida State losing Duke had its losing ways. Louisville hammered in Tallahassee last week. So I think the 1s are really coming down to now. The 4 that are there at the moment, Kansas, Baylor, Gonzaga, San Diego State. And I would give Dayton and Seton Hall the inside track to move up if things change at the top.
Pirates trying for their first full-on regular season championship in almost 30 years. Now, we've got the ACC. It has shifted now in the last week, going from 5 teams to 4 teams. Where does NC State stand as that potentially 5th team?
Well, they have some excellent wins, 5 in the first quadrant, as we know. But the real issue for NC State or any potential at-large from the middle of the ACC is the coattails of the conference simply aren't as long or deep as we're accustomed to seeing. This has not been a great year in the middle of the league. Very few of them performed well outside of the conference, and we've had separation and an inability of most to beat the teams, at least in that top 3. And you know, it's one of those things. We've seen it happen periodically in other power conferences. It's just a rarity in the ACC. But certainly the Big Ten, the Big East, even the Pac-12 are, it looks like for now, going to benefit from that.
Making up the slack for where the ACC has left off. Joe Lunardi, always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
So the path to 5 is there, but NC State on the outside looking in at the moment. Conference strength goes a long way at this time of the year.
And if we weren't involved in such a good game right here, I would have asked Joe, because I am curious, if Notre Dame were to beat Wake Forest, the game they unfortunately lost their last time out, where would that then have them? Because no doubt that knocked them off the path. But crazy things are happening with the bubble, so Notre Dame just needs to think, can they knock off Florida State, whereas Florida State is looking to make history, winning their first regular season title, equally as important as maybe trying to get a 1 seed.
Nice navigation to the basket for MJ Walker, a 1-point game. Notre Dame's in danger of missing the tournament for the 3rd straight year this year. As we mentioned earlier, trying to break a streak of 20 straight losses to ranked teams, their longest in school history.
I got to go back and correct myself. For Florida State winning a regular season title is way more important to me than getting a 1 seed. You can still go out there and obviously win this tournament as a 2 or 3 seed, but to hang a banner like that speaks to what Florida State's achieved in a year where nobody expected it for these Seminoles.
Last conference title was 88-89 in the Metro Conference under Pat Kennedy for FSU. Mooney sticks it back in.
It's a Florida State team that started unranked. That puts into perspective what people thought with the level of talent that they've lost. But Coach Hamilton's belief in the system, the depth, the amount of guys and buying in, he knew what he had, stayed the course, and this team is dangerous here in the month of March.
You lose 6 guys, and some of what he's added now, certainly you add an ESPN 100 player like Patrick Williams, that's a huge help. But some of the other role players, Dominic Olinichuk, injured, played at Ole Miss. Balsha Koprivica, not a key cog at Montford Academy, which has turned out numerous NBA players over the last few years. Malik Osborne, transfer from Rice. That's certainly a step up to the ACC. Player development plays a huge role in what's happening.
Yeah, and also having to adjust, which is what Coach Hamilton's done. You mentioned those bigs, Olinichuk and Koprivica. They're not your typical rim protectors that the Seminoles have had in years past. Usually that aggressive perimeter defense can take those risks because they know there's an eraser back there on the front line. They don't have that. So it's more of a mitigated risk with this Florida State perimeter defense, and sometimes they get exposed off the bounce because nobody strikes that fear in you at the rim like years past.
Raekwon Gray goes to the free throw line, shooting the first free throws of the night for either side, and gets 1 of 2, coming off a 3-point performance Saturday at Clemson, where he did not make a field goal. All 3 points were at the stripe. Gibbs on the drive, gets the defender in the air, and he caught Walker out of position.
The Irish sort of healthy dose of ball screens, trying to get this Florida State defense, who typically switches everything. They're going to jump that ball. The Irish are trying to either move it or drive it quick to expose that defensive pressure.
This may be, Jordan, the matchup of the deepest team in the league that reliably goes 12 deep in Florida State, and on the converse, the shallowest roster that reliably goes 7 deep for Notre Dame.
Yeah, and if Robbie Carmody's healthy, the Irish would go probably to that 8th guy. Instead, it's been Jogo who has been used here and there, but Coach Bray likes to keep a tight rotation, and that is definitely not how Coach Hamilton likes to approach the game.
Goodwin thought about 3 instead. A short corner 2 is good. Not to mention you had Chris Doherty who left the team. DJ Harvey transferred out in the offseason. So their practices are 9 guys. Hub on the drive, had the mismatch. Floater over the top of Gray. Notre Dame sizzling hot from the floor. The Irish shooting 58%.
And Hub, incredibly confident. Confident, how about perfect from the field? 5 of 5, 3 of 3 from distance.
Gray grabs his own miss, gets double-team baseline, has the strength to fight through Mooney and Goodwin, and gets the foul on the way up.
Give the man some pub. Prentice Hub, the lefty, feeling it from everywhere. Hasn't missed a shot. Will he?
Villanova team.
Yeah, great execution here on the final possession of the first half, but they've done their damage from beyond the arc. They've got 6 made threes in the first half.
Meantime, Dallin, what's going on in Miami?
Jay Huff has all 17 points. He's been unbelievable. And Kansas has gone a little bit of a run here. Azubuike putting up a Jordan Cornette like 24, 10, and 4 blocks.
That is one of your usual lines.
Did you sense sarcasm there from Dallin? I felt a little bit of sarcasm there. And this is a Notre Dame crowd listening, so they know that's not true.
There's a Columbia sneer toward you. Mike Cousins along with Jordan Cornette. How about Seton Hall trying to clinch outright their first Big East regular season title since '93? Can do it with a win against Villanova. That's huge. One of the most exciting players in the country there with Miles Powell. Prentice Hub bringing it up here. Already off to a great start. Averages about 12 a game and has 13 in the first 12 and a half minutes. And Jordan, it'll be interesting to watch as well how Notre Dame changes pace throughout the course of this game. We saw them push it a ton here. They go inside to Mooney against 3 defenders. Jump ball belongs to Florida State. How much they try and slow things down just to throw a curveball to the Seminoles now and then.
And Coach Brain, talking with him, said there's a possibility of that. In the first matchup that was high scoring back and forth, Coach said he just wanted his guys to go out there and play. He knew that there was going to be an energy to his guys tonight as well. So out of the gates, they were going to play in the track meet. But I think as this game goes on with the depth of Florida State, he's going to have to rethink that at some point, most especially in that second half late.
Raekwon Gray was going for the tip out, and he's called for the over-the-back foul, battling with Pfluger. Watching him go down the lane, he just made contact with Pfluger. It was like if you throw a big rock into a pond and you watch the ripples go out. That's the kind of force that he has going down the lane.
Raekwon Gray, also known as Turk by his family and friends and teammates, he's a unique athlete with how he moves at that size.
Numbers for the Seminoles, Forrest. And it's a Florida State bounce to get it in and get it back to a 2-point game.
And the Irish cannot turn the ball over and allow it to go the other way for quick points. That's what crushed them in the first matchup. Turnovers for touchdowns. Live ball turnovers going the other way.
Mooney rejected at the rim by Osborne. And it finds Hub, who stays high.
Channeling his inner Wyatt Wilkes. If you remember for the first matchup, Wilkes couldn't miss. This time it's Prentice Hub taking over.
On the lob, Osborne stuffs it through.
Osborne does a great job as either a dive guy off a ball screen or off the ball. They look to catch him with the lob. He's good for one of those.
Pfluger wants 3. Well off. Osborne, no.
Oxygen. How about this one? And it was off the ball screen, excuse me, as the dive guy. Osborne does such a great job there. And Williams, how about the touch pass? The freshman, former McDonald's All-American.
And Jordan, you say his name, he appears in the game. Wyatt Wilkes, the redshirt sophomore out of Orlando for Florida State. In that game back in January, he dropped 19, a career high, 14 of them in the first half.
He was a difference. I mean, he was a guy that they kind of rode in that game. And if you remember, Patrick Williams did not play out with a toe injury. So Notre Dame felt like, okay, maybe there's an advantage. And you got even more production when Wyatt went off for Florida State. And in talking to Coach Hamilton, he truly believes when this young man's career is over, he could go down as the best shooter in program history, meaning he's got that kind of talent. He thinks that that is a possibility for his future. So that's pretty high praise.
Good lineage as well. His dad, Glenn, 3 decades plus as the head women's basketball coach at Rollins College in Florida. 5:20 to go first half. Notre Dame up by 5 over the number 7 team in the country, Florida State, which is looking to go to the NCAA tournament for the 4th straight year. Last year, a school record 29 victories. Today would be number 25 on the season for the Noles. Vassell off the screen, smothered by Goodwin. Williams to the corner, a Forrest 3, rims out. FSU doing a good job on the offensive glass in the first 15 minutes, giving themselves multiple looks on each possession. That was just gas pedal to the floor for Forrest.
That was a big-time move from Trent Forrest. Had the advantage coming off the ball screen. Leshevsky defending him. Quick first step allows him to get all the way to the rim.
Gibbs fell to the floor. No contact. The only option was to call a travel.
And the Irish, look, you understand when you play Florida State, turnovers are going to become a story with a team that forces nearly 17 turnovers a game. But for the Irish, this is an unforced turnover, as they now have 7 in this game for a team with the nation's best 9.5 giveaways. It's starting to become a story, taking the Irish out of what has been a great offensive rhythm here in the first stanza.
Yeah, Notre Dame putting the 10 commandments to the test with the teams behind them. Thou shalt not covet. Liberty and St. Mary's behind them 2nd and 3rd in fewest turnovers per game. Vassell, a hand in his face 3, no. And a chance for Mooney with another rebound. It bounces out to Nick Jogo. Jogo plays about 4 minutes a game, so he gets some time, and Mooney gets some hang time.
Prentice Hub, the margin for error threading the needle there was remarkable. Prentice Hub playing the best first half of his career.
Forrest through contact. Grabs the miss and is uncontested on his ascent to put it back in.
The most underrated player in this conference. Trent Forrest is toughness in its purest form. I mean, just goes out there and just plays bully ball at the point guard position. An extension of Coach Hamilton on the floor, provides stability during turbulent times.
Hub nearly got another one, but he's going to shoot 3 on the foul by Wyatt Wilkes.
Threading the needle. I don't know if you can make a pass like that too many times over, but delivers it seamlessly to his big fella. The double-double, the walking double-double, John Moon. That he analyzes properly. Farney knows it's going to be Madison. And I'm just shocked that Dallin didn't say this line from Prentice Hub is Cornette-like. I was always perfect from the field. I block a couple shots, couple of rebounds, and I go 0 for 0 on shots.
You'd score a trillion from the field goal line?
Yes.
In the box score?
16, 6 of 6, 3 free throws here for Hub after he was fouled right before the timeout by Wyatt Wilkes.
You know, they do the layup lines before the game to get loose, get your shots up. I'd be off to the side and have our manager do head fakes, and I'd practice blocking shots. That's all. That's all I was bringing to the table was the defense.
America's unique warm-up there along the sidelines.
They'll be interested to hear what's going on at the Ryan Center in Kingston, Rhode Island tonight. Dayton and Rhode Island, a very interesting matchup. Hub and Mooney right now, 30 points out of the 37 for Notre Dame. FSU has never won in this building, but for Notre Dame, it's been 2 years, 3 months, and 11 days since their last win over a top 25 team. 37-33, Trent Forrest with the bucket. Top 10 in Florida State history in steals, assists, and made free throws. He'll be a Seminoles legend when he's done.
Love watching him play. So cerebral with his approach. Makes everybody around him better. And in huddles, you know you can trust him in moments where you need somebody to deliver.
Jogo stuck in the corner. 5 on the shot clock, Notre Dame. Can Hub get some more magic? Yes, he does with the assist to Mooney, left block.
Hub is bringing everything, and the vibe between him and Mooney playing off of each other has been special here out of the gates in the first half.
Osborne missed it. Mooney with the rebound. Hub out for Mooney, finds him again. This time from distance. Forget about your bachelor. These guys have the best relationship on TV right now.
I mean, give them both a rose. This is like watching Stockton and Malone. This is incredible.
Williams missed it. Here comes Pfluger looking at Mooney. To the corner for Gibbs. Driving kick. Prentice Hub airballs the three. Trent Forrest on the drive has the last 6 for Florida State. Welch floats it short into the hands of Mooney. Timeout, Notre Dame. They're feeling pretty good with 70 seconds in the first half. 42-33 in South Bend. Kansas Jayhawks, winners of 14 straight, on track for the #1 overall seed. They meet Texas Tech Saturday, 2 Eastern on ESPN, and then at 6 Eastern, the best rivalry in all of college basketball, perhaps in all of sports. An overtime thriller, first time they met, North Carolina and Duke. Once again, ESPN 6 Eastern, as well as on the ESPN app.
And as if the first matchup of these two this season wasn't enough to tune in for the rematch, North Carolina is suddenly dangerous with how well Cole Anthony and Garrison Brooks are playing off of each other, coupled with Christian Keeling delivering as that third performer.
Leschewski hoists a 3 and comes up empty as the Irish had time to draw that play up out of the timeout. But they have played exceptionally well in the first half. Notre Dame shooting 56%.
There's an energy, there's a connectivity, there's a toughness, there's a focus from the Irish that at times has waned throughout the season. They understand that they're on their 9th life, still have postseason hopes. And look, Joe Lunardi, as he tells it, maybe they can't play their way in and get an at-large, but you want some momentum going into Greensboro if you feel like you got to go get an automatic.
On their 9th life, hanging on by their claws, here to try and avoid missing the NCAA tournament for the 3rd straight year, for just the 2nd time in Mike Bray's tenure.
Look, Florida State defensively, they want to switch everything. But with this spacing from the Irish, Florida State can't use that to their advantage because they're chasing everything. They're a half step behind because the Irish are using the ball through the air to pass it along and keep that defense from settling in or imposing its will. That spacing and movement has allowed the Irish to shine.
Three to shoot. Vassell drives and with the right hand gets the roll as the first half comes to an end. But for Notre Dame shooting 56%, a lot of that from Hub and Mooney. The advantage is theirs by 7.
I mean, connecting for 35 points. These guys have been unstoppable. Florida State has to find an answer.
Kevin
State needs a key in on Prentice Hub, cut the head off the snake, and see what else can happen. Because no matter what's going on in that first half, Florida State still trails by only 7, despite their 2 of 10 shooting, and Prentice Hub being lights out, and John Mooney getting what he always does, a near double-double in that first half.
Notably, Prentice Hub and John Mooney, their scoring total equal to that of the Seminoles through the first 20 minutes. Pfluger trying the reverse. Durham finishes it off.
That's a big basket because if you remember how that first half ended, you saw Florida State get a basket to close out that first half, and that could have been a momentum shift. For the Irish to come out and get a basket right away lets you know that they still are continuing with the momentum that they had in that first half.
Forrest, the defense sagged off. He wanted a 3. Fight for the loose ball. As Osborne went to the ground, Forrest gets another look, and he's swatted it by Mooney. Pfluger with teammates calling for it. It ends up with Hub. And Gibbs tipped away by Osborne. Quiet first half for TJ Gibbs. Just 2 points, 0 of 4. So that's somewhat of a good sign for Notre Dame if he gets going, considering they've already got the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the Irish shot 7 of 15 from 3 in that first half. Blistering percentages, 56% from the field, 47% from 3. Florida State's still within striking distance, so they're in a good spot, but they got to do a better job running shooters off the three-point line.
Mooney on the drive, going up, looking for the two-handed finish. Osborne backs it out. Gray thunders down the lane and draws the foul against Durham.
6'8", 260 pounds, running rim to rim like a deer. I love it. I love watching Turk Gray perform. No fear going against the shot blocker, Juwan Durham, and because he goes with such momentum and aggression, puts the pressure on the officials to blow the whistle, and it's the right call.
It's a bold act just to stand in front of him when he's coming down the lane like that.
I've had a chance to talk to him time and time again. He's a fun interview, big personality, big-time performer. Just another one on a long list of incredibly likable young men in a Seminoles uniform. And that's big because these guys have to buy into this system of rotating 10, 11 guys and not thinking me first, but thinking about the team. And that buy-in has allowed Florida State to shine.
Up and down the roster, you see 19, 20, 21 minutes on average for a lot of guys, because when they go in, it's as hard as they can go for a few minutes. And it's one of the few teams in the country where you see guys asking to come out of the game.
Absolutely. In that last sequence, Mike, that's how the Irish lost the game first time around. Live ball turnovers that go what we call turnovers for touchdowns, meaning Florida State takes that live ball turnover, goes the other way, and finishes quickly. 5 or 6 of those happened in that first game where the Irish turned it over 15 times, and it cost them on Florida State's home floor.
That really stuck with Mike Bray, one of the talking points for him coming into this game of things they needed to improve upon. In a game where Florida State was without their standout freshman, Patrick Williams. Hang and deliver for Devin Vassell.
And now momentum is shifting. This is advantage Florida State. Notre Dame played fast. They punched Florida State in the mouth, but the depth of Florida State and them being able to run in transition with all these athletes, with all that depth, that's really going to test Notre Dame down the stretch.
Gibbs had a one-step advantage, finds Mooney in the corner. He fades away and leaves it long.
To me, John Mooney's one of the prime examples of being hurt by the three-point line extending out. Shooting a career-low 29% for three, a guy who shot around 33, 42, even high 40s in his freshman season. Not a lot of shots taken, but it's definitely impacted him, the stretching out the three-point line.
And he started off 0 for 3 in the first 3 minutes of the half.
There's one of those pick sixes, that live ball turnover that goes the other way. Devin Vassell steals it. I'm telling you, he reminds me so much of a young Paul George at 6'7", a fluid athlete, finishes the other end. And then again in the open floor, early offense for one of the best players in this conference, in my opinion. One of the best players in the country. I really think at the next level, you're going to see even more productivity from him whenever that time comes.
So we're on late tonight, I'm sure, with your PG reference. You just made California Central Valley very happy. Those are at Fresno.
I'm not saying he is Paul George, so don't worry if Paul George stands out there. I'm just saying he's got that type of game, and he's going to be a special guy at the next level.
Hub was too hard charging there, trying to get through the screen. And he picks up his second personal. It's been such a strange year, Jordan, for Notre Dame. 9-9 in the ACC with a game to go after this. They've never lost non-conference or in the ACC more than 2 games in a row. And if you take out their blowout loss against Duke, their average margin of defeat in the other 8 ACC games, 4 points.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, they're a 9-9 team, but have a field 12-6.
How about that? MJ Walker palms to the sky, wondering why it's a foul, with the emphatic rejection sending Goodwin to the deck.
It looked like it's Malik Osborne. Hit the ground hard, trying to defend here. Hope the young man's okay. Another fantastic pass from Hobbs, strong to the goal there. It looked like a knee, an inverted knee. Caught Malik Osborne. He's up and moving, and that's reason for optimism. Walking off on his own accord, saying, "I'm good." You like to hear that.
It appears to have been contact south of the equator.
It's not fun.
So he's got empathy from at least 50% of the population, and his hopefully quick recovery time going over to the bench with Florida State down by 7. And for one of the best three-point shooting teams in this league, Florida State just 2 of 11 so far. Part of their disadvantage right now. Second best three-point shooting team in the ACC at 36%, only behind Louisville's 38%.
And in talking with the coaching staff of Notre Dame, with their three-point production, a lot of people on that bench for Notre Dame felt like we got to hit 11, 12, maybe even 13 threes. So that just speaks to how important that arc is and the mindset for the Irish going into these type of games.
Boston College from last night would like to raise a flag and disagree with them.
How about that performance?
Double-digit threes and
Yet
still a loss against Syracuse.
Incredible.
Forrest into the lane, board by Williams. Mooney thought he played him straight up and gets called for the foul. So that's 2 on Mooney.
Just a tough drive here from Forrest, and when you get close looks like that, it allows for good offensive rebounding opportunities. Forrest actually gets the tip to Williams, and with Williams' body, you're going to ricochet off that thing. Usually a clean deflection ain't going to come your way. Take another look here. And it's a little bit of body from Mooney. Hard to see from the angle, but I think he got him from behind with that body. Clean up top. A little bit of contact.
5 points now for Williams, who over his last 8 games is averaging 13 points a night. Gibbs drives and delivers for Goodwin. A wide open look from 3.
Gibbs only has 2 points, but those are the winning plays that need to come from the Irish perimeter if they're going to upend one of the best teams in the country. Pushing it, a swing pass, Goodwin with his feet set.
Goodwin has 10 points, and 8 of them have come there in the first 4 minutes and change of this second half.
Florida State getting whatever they want in the paint, most especially Trent Forrest as a driver.
And yet, the gap has widened for Notre Dame after halftime. Goodwin the board, and inside the three-point line, well off. Another offensive rebound belongs to Leschewski. He's stuck in the corner and gets out of it. Goodwin the speed advantage and uses it, burning past Olinichuk for 2.
High IQ play from Goodwin, understanding he had the mismatch, and the Irish fans coming alive.
Well, it was pajamas night for the student section, but they have been anything but asleep so far, holding the advantage through most of this one. Hub and Mooney had 35 at the half, 0 in the second. Dane Goodwin has turned it on.
Mike Cousins, I don't see a lot of pajamas out there, I'm not going to lie to you. So I don't know if that one was a success, but the Irish offensively, they certainly have been. Goodwin dials down from distance, and Goodwin shows.
54-43, Notre Dame leads Florida State, the number 7 team in the country. FSU looking for a number 1 seed in the ACC tournament, trying to grab their first conference title since the 88-89 season. And Notre Dame, which was once 2-6, can work its way back over 500 again and try and keep some semblance of a dream alive to get to the NCAA tournament and try and avoid missing it for a 3rd straight year. Back here at Purcell Pavilion, Mike Cousins along with Jordan Cornette, and it has been one of the better shooting nights of the season for Notre Dame tonight.
TJ Gibbs made a poor decision there with Koprivica defending him settled instead of trying to beat him off the dribble.
The second best three-point shooting team in the ACC, Florida State, just 2 for 11 tonight. They haven't made one going on more than 16 minutes now. Leschewski backing in, pump fake, too much.
A little bit of contact there. Coach Bray wanted a whistle.
In the lane from Raekwon Evans. Subs coming for the Irish at the next whistle. Shooting with Prentice Hub and shot blocking with Jawan Durham. Gibbs stepped out of bounds. So here come the subs. Our next NBA Saturday primetime game, Tobias Harris and Al Horford leading the Sixers against Steph Curry. Hoping to be back from that broken left hand, and the Warriors coverage starts with a jump, 8 Eastern on ABC. 10th turnover of the game for Notre Dame. And that's already more than their season average, where they rank #1 in the country. 9.5 per game. Vassell feeds it for Williams. Mooney was late on the closeout. Williams front rims it. Pfluger over the top. Late defense by Koprivica. And it ends up as a foul on Jawan Durham.
And Mooney had great position. That's phenomenal help side D for Koprivica. A young guy doing the job, and it's 7'1" with a wingspan. It enables you to get that deflection. That saved the basket.
The son of a 1992 Olympian gives the ball back to Florida State, down by 9.
Talking with Coach Hamilton, he believes Koprivica can become not only a pro, but a very good pro.
Traveling the call. 7'1", 260. Moved to the United States as a 6th grader in 2012 and spent his last 2 years playing for Kevin Boyle at Montverde Academy outside of Orlando.
And you're used to seeing 7'1" in a Florida State uniform and think rim protector. Well, that's not Koprivica. Very skilled, needs to improve his toughness, but also needs to get comfortable being featured as an option and a threat offensively, because that is a foundational part to the Seminoles of what they do offensively.
In due time with 3 more years. There's Durham making up for the whistle. Last time down the floor, gets 2. So 2 bigs. It's the starting lineup look here for Notre Dame. Pfluger swoops in to take it away. For as much as Mike Bray likes to, as he says, downshift and go to a smaller lineup, playing with 2 bigs can't work for them. Durham into the lane, and he's fouled before the drop-off goes to Mooney. 14 Notre Dame points in the half. All of them have come from either Jawan Durham or Dane Goodwin.
And because the Irish are operating so confidently on the offensive side, that has carried over that rhythm there to the defensive effort. There's been a toughness. They gave up a lot in the inside on driving lanes and in the post. That's gone away. The Irish have made Florida State meet some resistance on these drives. They've been able to build a little bit of a lead here.
Goodwin back onto the floor for Notre Dame. Talked about John Mooney perhaps not getting the recognition that might have come his way had the Irish had a better season. Goodwin in that group as well, as far as 6 Man of the Year candidates go in this league. The baseline floater, count it for Devin Vassell.
Bad sequence there for Prentice Hump, who's been on fire all night, has the turnover, compounds the mistake defensively by fouling Vassell, who he had no advantage on. You're gonna foul, you can't foul like that. Can't allow the delivery to be that fluid and give him a whistle.
And he collects 3. Leonard Hamilton said when he came into this league, and especially when he was in the Big East as well at Miami, has always had to be different in terms of the style, the way he was going to win, and has done it in recent years with one of the deepest rosters in the country that goes reliably a dozen deep.
Let me tell you, and Mike, I know you'll agree, there is nobody more fun to talk to at a pregame shoot-around or just in general than Coach Hamilton. Fascinating story, great coach. Players love him. Just enjoy the interaction every time.
11:41 with the
Inside the Big 12, Udoka Azubuike was unbelievable tonight, 31 and 14.
Meantime, Virginia struggling to make it 7 in a row, Dallin.
And Mamadi Diakite and Jay Huff have combined for 29 of their 39 points, but this team is turning it over, not making shots. Look like the team from last month.
Really feels like you'd say that about a lot of teams, Dallin, and that's what comes with the madness, I suppose. You think you got a team pegged for something, and then all of a sudden there's a new wrinkle.
You'll have an impactful game Saturday, Louisville and Virginia. Florida State, they go 2-0 to finish out the season. That'd be a win here and then a win Saturday against Boston College. They get at least a share of the ACC regular season title and would secure the #1 seed for the ACC tournament. However, that remains in peril here given the 56-48 deficit they face at the hands of Mike Brey and Notre Dame.
Mooney, another day, another dollar, just out there grabbing rebounds, trying to create second chance opportunities. We know about his defensive rebounding prowess. Look, he's not the best athlete on the floor. These are the instincts Coach Hamilton was talking about when he talks about the rebounder. There's 4 guys there. He knows where that ball's going to careen off the iron, and he positions himself to go get it.
So it's yet another double-double for Mooney at 16 and 10. His nation-leading 25th of the season. Foul at midcourt on contact as Forrest goes to the floor. So he ties Luke Carangodi and had surpassed our guy Fonz now at 25 in a season.
I mean, look at that list. Those are some of the all-time greats to put on the uniform in different eras nonetheless. Luke Carangodi, well, his jersey's hanging from the rafters, so that speaks to the type of production you're getting from John Mooney.
And he's just 3 rebounds shy of Tim Duncan's single-season ACC rebound record, set at 96-97. 3 to shoot, so Gibbs has to let it go and gets rare points for him tonight. First field goal made for Gibbs. Scores 13 tonight. With a size advantage on Pfluger from the short corner, Gray is whistled for the offensive foul.
High IQ basketball from Rex Pfluger. 5th-year seniors played a lot of basketball. The ultimate glue guy, understanding that he's going to get bodied there. Takes one blow and understands inevitably there's a second coming. And with the body of Gray at 260, he knows that reverberation will be felt. Sells it very well.
It's going to be an early morning coming for Rex Pfluger, who's working with a local company for a week-long internship, part of his MBA, called Hurry Home, a startup working to get home financing for people looking to buy homes under $80,000. 11 a.m. tomorrow after this 9 o'clock tip. He's got to give a presentation.
He's an impressive young man.
And he's got a launch here. Oh, no, he gives it up. Prentice Hub does it again. And Notre Dame up 61-48. 10 minutes to go, has its largest lead of the night. Forrest has it tipped away by Pfluger. Saturday night, UFC 248 in Las Vegas, and 2 title fights for you. You can get the main card in English and Spanish on ESPNplus.com/PPV. You'll have the middleweight championship, and the first ever Chinese champ, Zhang Weili, defends her strawweight belt against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Pay-per-view, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, ESPN and ESPN Deportes with the prelims. Shot clock expires. Leszewski clears the miss from Forrest.
This feels like a big possession. A 13-point lead. The Irish looking to open this thing up. Florida State has to bunker in and get a stop.
Florida State has just not had the answer on shots outside the paint. They are 4 of 18 from anything outside the paint tonight. Another offensive foul. Mooney is there to take the charge.
I'm not sure if that's the right call. It felt like he was within the arc there. Let's take another look. Oh, get just outside just enough to earn the charge.
The foul gets the students to their feet. So for the next, for the next 5 minutes while we eat this, we'll just enjoy the game in silence. America will rejoice.
Moon pie. I feel like I'm back in what, the mid-90s? Was that when moon pies were big? I think that was the last time I felt confident with my shirt off.
Anything with chocolate and sugar, I'm always happy.
We need it. It's late, man.
Speaking about shirt off, by the way, the last time the Irish defeated a ranked team, Mike Bray went shirtless in the locker room. The Maui Invitational, a win over Wichita State. Since then, 20 straight losses to teams in the top 25 for Notre Dame. So 2 years, 3 months, 11 days, that streak has lived.
And the team very aware of that streak. It's something that the local media picked up with. Have asked the players about it this week, and they haven't shied away from being fully aware of what's at stake in that regard, not to mention postseason dreams. Florida State just saw last time down a three-point shot to win, only their third of the day. Could that give them some confidence here? The time's starting to become their enemy.
It was notable for them because in the last 5 minutes, it had just one basket and turned it over 4 times.
It's good defense from Nate Laszewski, not giving up an angle, sliding all along with the uber-athletic Patrick Williams.
Out of bounds off of the Irish, Florida State ball. Leonard Hamilton. Florida State's Leonard Hamilton is worthy of a feature-length film. He was a week away from joining the U.S. Army, but the coach at Gaston Community College wanted him to play badly there. He went to UT Martin, broke the color barrier there, was an assistant at Austin Peay. Then a brief stay over, 6 business days at Dow Chemical before becoming the first black coach in school history at the University of Kentucky. Started his head coaching career Oklahoma State, later Miami, the Washington Wizards, and now almost 2 decades at the helm at Florida State. Breaking multiple color barriers, Leonard Hamilton was only doing what he wanted to do, was to go be a basketball coach. He said, as we talked to him today, I didn't want to be a pioneer. I wasn't trying to be somebody who made history. I was just trying to make it, period.
Yeah, and he talked about where he grew up there in Gastonia, and he said, you know, I came from a tough spot. And he said, what I saw coming up, a little bit of racism wasn't going to deter me. From what I saw growing up, I developed a toughness, a mental toughness where I couldn't be broken. So some of the racial barriers that I broke down, I was just trying to create a good life for myself. I wanted to create so that the generations that followed me in the Hamilton family would have something. And he has surely honored that name, but done it in such a seamless manner where he almost approached it like, I was trying to be successful. Like it's like he didn't even understand just how impressive that resume of what he achieved truly is. Just a matter-of-fact guy. And he's never really liked the accolades, even that's come with what he's done here at Florida State in terms of what he's built. Just really ho-hum about it, incredibly humble guy.
And there's a great story recently by our colleague Andrea Adelson on ESPN.com about Leonard Hamilton's career and other great work this year, too, about the pioneering career that he's had and giving examples for other African-American head coaches throughout college basketball. Craig Meyer, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Rob Doster of NBC Sports, I think, have written 2 of the best pieces about that deserve everyone's readership at home.
I'll tell you what, quietly, this Florida State team, this tempo, definitely favors the Seminoles. And this is the point in the game where they can start to overwhelm you with the depth. Playing 7 guys for the Irish, they have hit that wall, and they can't keep up the pace that allowed them to build such a lead. Now it's advantage Florida State playing at this level. They got to slow it down, the Irish. And that's not playing to lose or playing to not win the game. That is simply, that's where they have to approach this game and adjust tempos at this point.
Pfluger for 3, doesn't get it. That was with 13 on the shot clock, and he is not their best 3-point shooter.
A lot of bad shots lately. MJ Walker heating up.
He has the last 11 for Florida State. Off back iron, Prentice Hub, here comes Notre Dame.
Here's a perfect time to slow it down, run some offense, a little bit of action, maybe a set play to get a good one and hold on to this lead.
Mooney forced well outside the post by Vassell. Back up top, 3 on the way. Back rim, no good for Gibbs. And the loose ball down the lane belongs to Florida State. Well, they finished the regular season. Will have a lot of implications for the NCAA tournament and for conference tournaments as well. Kansas, #1 in the country, takes on Texas Tech in Lubbock, trying to go back to their role of winning the Big 12 every year. And then at 6 Eastern, North Carolina, a resurgent Tar Heels team, and Duke. It's all on ESPN, the ESPN app.
Texas Tech gave Baylor all they could handle. It's a dangerous Texas Tech team, but the inside out of Kansas, that 1-2 punch of Dotson and Azubuike. Don't want to see that one in March.
MJ Walker continues his personal 13-3 streak against Notre Dame. Meanwhile, John Mooney scoreless with more than 15 minutes gone in the second half. 16 points on the game. Prentice Hub, the leader for Notre Dame, with 22. Walker leads the Seminoles with 18.
And it's simple. Right now, it's winning time. And when you have this kind of depth, like Florida State has, and when you have their kind of confidence, a team that's played a lot of tight ones, they're perfectly comfortable operating in this kind of situation, whereas Notre Dame, they play 7 guys. You saw what they did percentage-wise, 56% from the field, 47% from the three-point line in that first half. Carried over into the second half. Percentages were going to come back around, and then Florida State was going to be able to make a surge. A run was coming. MJ Walker has gone lights out. Florida State wants to continue to play fast here. This is a Notre Dame team that has to figure out a way to get stops, run some clock, and get good looks. Shot selection has failed them down the stretch here.
Later tonight on ESPN, after Pelicans Mavs, it's SportsCenter with SVP. Reaction from the NBA, that great matchup with Zion and Luka. An inside look at that matchup. And then a look at how far #1 Kansas can go in the NCAA tournament. SportsCenter with SVP after the NBA on ESPN and the ESPN app. Great interview last night. Talk about one of the better stories in college basketball. Had an interview with John Becker from Patrick Gym in Burlington, Vermont. Josh Spidell, a recruit that they had several years ago who was injured in a car accident. Finally got on the floor for the Catamounts. Never got back to what he could have been as an athlete. But in that game against Albany, was able to score his first 2 points of his collegiate career. One of those moments that you look at and you say, that is why you love sports.
Yeah, the beauty of sport. You couldn't have said it any better, Mike. I mean, those are the moments that become viral because everybody receives it the same way with so much emotion. You need moments like that in this world. It was a beautiful thing to watch.
John Mooney has gone without a field goal attempt over the last 12.5 minutes. As this lead has been as big as 13 tonight for the Irish and has dwindled to 2 on this possession. Florida State can take the lead. Trying to win for the first time in this building.
2-3 zone, that short corner. Patrick Williams makes himself a receiver. Toughest part of his zone is rebounding out of it. Florida State averages about 11 offensive rebounds per game. They are blitzing the backboard. Take a look here. That's one of the spaces where a 2-3 zone is vulnerable. Identified as the short corner. A tough finesse shot there. Williams couldn't get it to go, but the fight from Osborne to give him a second chance. More 2-3 from the Irish.
Four minutes to play. Notre Dame 63, Florida State, the #7 team in the country, hoping to finish out the regular season with back-to-back wins to get the #1 seed in the ACC tournament and at least a share of the ACC regular season title for the first time since they joined the league the start of the 90s. Mooney with his first shot in more than 13 minutes, and it's well off the mark.
This is bad offense. It's settling. Nothing tough to guard in that possession, and an empty one.
So different from what they opened the game with. Crisp passing, great ball movement, hard cuts. Vassell hangs and scores. We're tied at 63.
Florida State very comfortable breaking down this 2-3 zone now, finding gaps, being aggressive with penetration. Vassell couldn't get it to go the possession prior, able to deliver on that one.
FSU has scored 15 of the last 17 in the game. Pfluger from the corner, a high arcing three is good. 66-63, timeout Notre Dame.
That's a senior making a winning play, the 11th 3 for an Irish team that's gone a little bit cold from distance here in the second half. When they needed one, got it from a fifth-year guy. Prentice Hub on a drive, collapses the defense, good extra pass from Leshevsky, feed set from the corner, high percentage opportunity. Rex Pfluger gets it to go.
Jordan, nobody on.
Beverly commits a foul.
What are you thinking? Just play good defense. You send Clark to the free throw line, he makes both, and then this is the final look they have. Virginia survives in Miami.
Dejan Vasiljevic off the mark. Virginia has won 7 in a row, Mike.
It's crazy what the Cavaliers have done to get to 14-5. If they finish with a win against Louisville on Saturday and Florida State loses once, the Cavaliers can earn at least a share of the regular season title.
They're the reigning national champ. Put some respect on Coach Tony Bennett's name. Y'all act like you forgot.
One of the best coaching jobs not only in the league this year, but in the country. And an ill-advised foul there by Leshevsky. Too hard on the closeout of M.J. Walker.
And it looks like the belief is that he got him on the arm. Leshevsky super hot from outside. M.J. Walker, no question. There's contact on that right shooting him. The arm, the forearm.
Walker, the former McDonald's All-American, coming out of high school, number 27 then in the ESPN 100. His class, Marvin Bagley, Michael Porter Jr., DeAndre Ayton, Mo Bamba, and Jordan Nwora in that conversation as well. And the final two remain, Nwora and Walker here in the ACC. Dead even at 66 with 2:40 to go. And the pressure comes from Florida State. A quick escape valve for Notre Dame.
M.J. Walker has been all night like a set of porch lights here down the stretch. He loves the early three in transition, but he's done it in a half-court setting here. A catch and release off the bounce. No success from distance for Florida State the majority of this game. Then M.J. Walker single-handedly with the perimeter stroke has Florida State tied in this one, forcing Notre Dame to call a timeout on their entry. It's simple. Florida State got hot from three behind M.J. Walker, made some plays. Notre Dame, it became feast or famine and settlement. He just kept taking three after three, whether it was in rhythm, whether it was a good look or not. 1 of 9 in the last 7 minutes from beyond the arc for the Irish. They went cold. M.J. Walker heated up.
Pfluger goes for the home run down the court to Goodwin, who's fouled hard by Osborne.
What a pass. Goodwin goes up strong. It looked like a clean block to me from Osborne. Officials have been pretty good tonight, so not going to second guess too much here.
Nope, that's enough contact for a foul.
I don't know, Mike.
Body to body? Look at the trajectory of how Goodwin's body changes.
But it looked like he stuck the arm out. I thought that it was legal guarding position from Osborne, in my opinion. Felt like a clean block.
Nevertheless, it's Goodwin at the line. Notre Dame in the second half. That's just the third free throw they've attempted.
Goodwin has been huge as we talk about Walker and what he's achieved in the second half. Goodwin has made some big-time plays for the Irish to keep them head above water and clinging to now a 2-point lead.
Goodwin sits as Mike Brey substitutes offense for defense to get two bigs on the floor with Mooney and Durham shot blocking ability. Two and a half minutes to go as Notre Dame looks for its first ranked win in more than 2 years. Durham off the bench is called for the foul. And that's the 4th on the big man.
Juwan Durham, he's a shot blocker. You can get him up in the air. He's going to bite on any head fake. Malik Osborne does a good job of earning it from the free throw line here.
And we say it's been all in favor of Notre Dame so far today, despite the surge that Florida State has had in the second half. The only lead for Florida State, despite a couple of ties, was 5-4, and it lasted for all of 16 seconds. And yet it's still in position to win it. Mooney, slippery hands from the left block. Here comes Florida State.
It's a right play from Hub and impatience from Mooney to try and make the play before securing the catch.
A tap of the head from Leonard Hamilton signals the screen for Osborne. Williams sends it back out for Walker, 10 on the shot clock. He pulls up. Back rim, no. A fight for the rebound ensues, and a foul on the edge goes against Devin Vassell. Notre Dame ball.
There's a lot of contact all over the place. And yeah, without question, Vassell trying to fight off Gibbs and got in his path. Two guys trying to win a 50-50. Big time free throws here now, 1-on-1 for Gibbs.
Florida State has made up a lot of the gap, hitting their last 9 free throws. Meanwhile, Notre Dame just 9 for 9 on the night, make it a perfect 10 of 10 from the strike. Close games too many times for Notre Dame's liking have not gone their way this year. The one possession game has been their enemy. 1 of 2 there for Gibbs. Average margin of defeat in 8 of their 9 ACC games has been just 4 points for the 9-9 Irish. Forrest on Mooney, hands up all the way, Goodwin's got it. 90 seconds to go, Notre Dame by 1.
Hub has been a hot hand. You want to see him make a play here with what he's done this evening.
The sweeping step back is good for Prentice Hub. 71-68, Notre Dame by 3. Timeout, Florida State.
That Florida State perimeter defense has been vulnerable at times throughout the season. Prentice Hub has been hot. Look at Prentice Hub locate a space on the floor that he wants to get to. On the exchange, Osborne forced to guard, creates that space with the step back. As confidently as he shot in the first half, he hasn't been that hot in the second, but has made plays when he's had to. But it was that exchange that gave him a favorable matchup to exploit Osborne as a perimeter defender.
Jordan, as Notre Dame has turned around their season in a way, they were 2-6 when they lost January 25th in the ACC against Florida State. Now they're 9-9. How much has the maturation of the sophomore class of Goodwin, of Leschewski, and notably Hub played a role in their turnaround?
Well, it's huge. If you go back and look at the Irish and their successes, it's either been a lot of a guy like Hub, or Gibbs has had to carry them with his accurate shooting in conference play. But when Hub goes off, Notre Dame is a completely different team. They are able to weaponize him and guys play off of him. Goodwin is always a steady performer for his team. He's been pretty consistent throughout. But Hub can be super locked in and productive, or he can go quiet. When he goes quiet, the Irish struggle. He is not quiet this evening.
20 straight losses against teams ranked in the top 25 for Mike Bray's Fighting Irish. Last win overall, 2 years, 3 months, 11 days ago against Wichita State. And then you have to go even longer than that. February 11th of 2017, 3 years and 22 days, and it was against number 14 Florida State at the time.
I mean, we talk about what Virginia's done, but let's not forget, you know, in terms of trending upward in the last 10 games, Notre Dame is definitely that, and a Notre Dame team that won 3 games in conference a season ago.
Mismatch here as Mooney tries to guard Forrest. He steps through, gets the foul, and has a chance to lock it up at 71.
A savvy veteran. So good inside that arc with the probing dribbles. Another favorable matchup for a guard this time. It's Forrest versus Mooney. Got just enough body to earn a three-point play opportunity.
Third foul on John Mooney.
And that's Forrest. That's the scout on him. He likes to spin back to that dominant hand to make a play.
71 apiece. Forrest in his 136th game. 4 shy of the school record.
What a fun second half this has been.
Well, it's been great start to finish. Coming right down to the wire. The ACC has been anything but predictable this year. Hub outlasts the defense and misses from point-blank range. Here comes Florida State with a chance for their first lead since it was 5-4, and 2 seconds separate the game and shot clocks. Forrest hits the gas with 6 to shoot. Gets past Mooney. Off front rim. A second chance try. Is good with 3.8 to go. No timeouts for Notre Dame. Here comes Hub. And a half-court heave is no good.
What a finish. Trent Forrest. He's a winner. He's an absolute winner. An extension of Coach Hamilton. I'll tell you, I know coaches don't have favorites, but I'll tell you, he's high on that list for Coach Hamilton. Feels super comfortable in those turbulent times for him to go out there and make a play. And he made 2 huge ones down the stretch. The and one, and then here, a cool customer. Again, him versus Mooney doesn't get it, but the wherewithal to stick with the play, the resiliency, and the delivery. On the road, nonetheless. Big time.
It doesn't matter how long you hold the lead. It just matters that you have it when the clock reads 0. And in this game, Florida State had the lead for all of 19 seconds. And the number 7 team in the country emerges a winner to go to 25-5, and they need just 1 more win to get at least a share of the ACC regular season title and the number 1 seed in the conference tournament.
Those are the kind of teams that you want to pick in March. In a game like that, resilient, didn't have any kind of lead, but continued to keep their head down and work in an environment where everybody was against them on the road. Trent Forrest, your senior leader, your floor general, your point guard play in March, makes it happen.
73-71, Florida State's a winner for the first time here in South Bend. Thanks so much for being with us. On behalf of our entire crew, my partner Jordan Cornette, I'm Mike Cousins. Sports Center's next. Off we go.
This is Sports Center at night.
Movement at the top, projected 2 seeds make